Let me tell you something most drivers think is true, but quietly costs them thousands over the years. The car world runs on advice. Friends pass it down, mechanics repeat it, your uncle who knows cars delivers it like gospel at every family gathering. And honestly, most of it sounds completely reasonable. That's the problem. Because a lot of it is outdated, misunderstood, or just flat out wrong. And when you believe the wrong things about your car, you're not just wasting money at the pump or the shop. You're shortening your engine's life, accelerating rust, and ignoring warning signs until they become four-figure repair bills. I've spent over 15 years studying vehicle depreciation, maintenance economics, and what separates cars that hit 200,000 miles from ones that die at 90,000. And I'll tell you this, bad habits based on bad myths are one of the biggest factors. So today, we're breaking down the most common car myths people still believe and why trusting them is one of the most expensive mistakes any driver can make. Let's get into it. Myth 1. Premium gas always improves performance. This myth refuses to die. You see it at every gas station. Someone with a perfectly ordinary family sedan reaches past regular and grabs premium because it sounds better, because it must do something more, right? Wrong. Here's how engines actually work. High-compression engines, the kind found in performance vehicles and certain luxury cars, are engineered to handle fuel with a higher octane rating. That higher octane resists knock, which is when fuel ignites prematurely in the cylinder. In those engines, premium fuel is a requirement, not a preference. But if your engine isn't built for it, premium gas does nothing. No extra horsepower, no smoother idle, no better fuel economy, no longer engine life. You're just paying 30 to 50 cents more per gallon for something your car's computer literally cannot use. In fact, studies by AAA found that American drivers waste over $2 billion every year pumping premium into cars that don't need it. $2 billion. Gone. The rule is simple. Open your owner's manual. If it says regular unleaded recommended, you're done. If it says premium required, you need it. If it says premium recommended, you can experiment, but for most daily driving, you'll barely notice a difference. Don't buy marketing. Buy the fuel your car was engineered for. Myth 2. You need to warm up your car for 10 minutes before driving. If you grew up watching a parent sit in the driveway for 10 minutes every winter morning, this one's for them. This advice made complete sense 40 years ago. Carbureted engines needed time to stabilize their air-fuel mixture before they could handle load. Letting them idle wasn't laziness, it was mechanical necessity. But that era ended in the 1980s and 90s when fuel injection took over. And today's engines? They're a completely different animal. Modern engines use sophisticated fuel management systems, synthetic blend oils, and tighter manufacturing tolerances that reach operational temperature far faster than their predecessors. And here's the kicker. Oil circulates to critical components within seconds of startup. The engine doesn't need 10 minutes. It needs about 20 to 30 seconds before you start driving. But there's a catch. You can't just floor it immediately. Drive gently for the first few minutes. Keep RPMs low. Let the engine warm up under light load, not sitting still burning fuel in your driveway. Prolonged idling in modern cars actually causes problems. Fuel can wash down cylinder walls, thinning the oil film that protects your pistons. You're burning fuel, generating emissions, and not getting any forward motion. 3 losses with 0 gains. In cold climates especially, this myth is stubborn. I get it. Nobody wants to get into a freezing car, but use a remote starter if comfort is the goal. Your engine doesn't need the warm-up, your seat heater does. Myth 3. Change your oil every 3,000 miles. This is probably the single most profitable myth in automotive history. Not for you, for quick lube shops. The 3,000-mile oil change rule was born in a different era. Older engines with looser tolerances, conventional mineral oils, and driving conditions far harsher than today's average commute. In that context, it made sense. But that context no longer exists for most drivers. Today's synthetic and synthetic blend oils are engineered to last significantly longer, often maintaining protective properties for 5,000, 7,500, or even 10,000 plus miles, depending on the oil grade in your vehicle. Modern engines are more precise, the chemistry is more advanced. The old rule simply doesn't apply. And here's what the data says. Changing oil more frequently than necessary doesn't help your engine. It just creates more used oil waste and drains your wallet on unnecessary service intervals. Now, I'm not saying ignore oil changes. Engine oil is the lifeblood of your car. Neglect it and you'll destroy an engine that could have lasted 200,000 miles. But changing it twice as often as needed isn't protection. It's unnecessary spending. The right answer is your owner's manual combined with your actual driving habits. Short trips, towing, stop-and-go traffic, extreme temperatures, these put more stress on oil and may warrant shorter intervals. Highway driving, modern synthetics, normal conditions, you can confidently stretch to your manufacturer's recommendation. Stop guessing. Stop defaulting to a 50-year-old rule. Read your manual. Myth 4. Washing your car in winter causes rust. This one sounds logical on the surface. Water in freezing temperatures. That must be bad for metal, right? The logic is completely backwards. Road salt is one of the most corrosive substances your vehicle regularly encounters. It attacks bare metal, eats through paint, and accelerates rust in ways that moisture alone never could. And in winter, your car drives through it constantly. On roads, in parking lots, behind trucks spraying brine. When you skip washing because it's too cold, you're letting that salt sit. And salt doesn't just sit passively, it's actively pulling moisture from the air and continuing its chemical attack on your wheel wells, undercarriage, and body panels, even when the car is parked in your garage. Regular winter washing, especially undercarriage rinses, removes the salt before it has time to cause damage. Most modern automated car washes work perfectly fine in winter and specifically offer undercarriage cleaning for this reason. The irony I've seen play out over and over, the drivers who avoided washing in winter to protect their car are the same ones dealing with bubbling paint and rust holes by year 4 or 5. Wash the car, more often in winter, not less. Myth 5. Small problems can wait. Of all the myths on this list, this is the one that ends vehicles prematurely. I've watched it happen more times than I can count. A small leak that isn't that bad yet. A slight shimmy in the steering at highway speed that comes and goes. A warning light that flickered for a day and then disappeared. A grinding sound that only happens sometimes. These aren't minor inconveniences, they're diagnostic signals. And cars rarely fail suddenly. They give you weeks, sometimes months of early warnings before something fails completely. The warnings are the car asking for help. What happens when you ignore them? Small problems compound. A slow coolant leak becomes an overheated engine. A worn CV axle boot becomes a destroyed joint. An intermittent warning light becomes a catalytic converter replacement. A slight brake squeal becomes metal-on-metal contact and full rotor replacement. Here's the math. The repair you avoid today typically costs 2 to 5 times more when the underlying issue is spread. And in some cases, engine failure, transmission damage, it's not 2 to 5 times more. It's the difference between a $400 fix and a $4,000 fix. Smart ownership isn't about spending money all the time. It's about spending early on small things before they become large ones. If your car is telling you something, listen. Smash that like button if this video just saved you money.